Heck, let's just jump right in. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Good to see you this morning. Everything sounds all right. Look at that. Okay, why do we have two of those things if that's not necessary? No, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Good morning. How you doing? This is a different setup, so it's always crazy pants, as you do. I don't want green screen on that right now. Nope. Okay, that's good because I don't have one. I don't have one right now. That would be weird. Hi, chat room. Good to see you. welcome. Let's see. Oh, that's what I want to do. Turn this thing on and make sure the alerts are on and the open that's off and the widget, turn the widget on. There we go. Now I'll be able to see you guys, and there you are. Look at that. Thanks for subscribing. We're so close to 60K. I saw that in there. I was like, you guys, come on now. Let's do this. Looks smooth? Excellent. Thanks very much. Thanks, Tobias. Look at that. I wish there was an easier way to put the chat remarks on the screen. Stargal, what's happening? Good to see you. Hey to the sparklers out there. Look at that. What's up, Motang from Thomas? All the folks out there. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Yes. Good morning, Carl. I'm so close to you right now. It's unnerving. I feel like I should come over and just do a stand-up show just to save you the trip to Flappers at some point. That said, I'm glad you're not like. I appreciate people concerned about withdrawal. I'm making it as best I can. Travel days being what they are. Audio, video. Thank you, Andrea, for the check. Appreciate that. Excellent. Looking good even on the road. Well, we'll see. You know, we'll see how radio pans out tomorrow. Now, tomorrow should be pretty good. I just have to handle some of the tech behind the scenes, but it is indeed the show. It is the morning show, and hello, I am Hal Sparks, indeed the Democratic Machine, a.k.a. the establishment, also known as the Deep State. I may not hit bottom, but I'll scrape the shit out of the sides, and I'm so glad to be with you on Jobs, 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 yeah. Jobs, 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 yeah. Day. I gotta say, it's I may have to jump into Maria Bartiromo's response to the jobs data, even though that's sort of an afternoon show kind of a thing. I kind of feel like I gotta. You gotta. In a second, but before that, I want to see if the chat situation works here. Does that work? Okay, it does kind of. There we go. There's a bit of our chat. Excellent. Good to see you. And I think I'm fairly certain. I want to be a member of the Deep State Army. Who do I have to see about that? I'm working on that. I think, quite frankly, Gary brings up an excellent point that I like the term sparklers, but at some point, I think to broaden the appeal and the base of the show and all that kind of stuff, I think I just have to like trademark Deep State as my own organization and pass out membership cards. I think we all just need Deep State membership cards. Like, and to me, because, you know, the Deep State to me would be people who care enough about the function of our democracy to vote every time. Our love for democracy is deep. Deep undercover sometimes. So it's a thought. I'm floating it out there, but I think it might be Gary might be onto something. Yeah, Leah thinks we should do it. I think we should too. I think there's something to that. Chat. There's a thin line. Just try to control yourself. It's all right. And let's see. There you go. There's the chat. There we go. Coming out. For some of us, it's afternoon, so jump into it. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll try as best I can. Now, let's see. Will the trends and article on this thing work, or I have to jump over and change the screen on this sucker? Might have to jump over. Yeah, no, it works. I'll just have to move myself though. Hi, there I am. That's just shite. Why is that not moving? I don't know why. I can move out of the way. So yeah, this is the, I mean, in and of, can we just enjoy it for a second? Now this is the Bloomberg title. Now everywhere else, if you look at the response to the jobs report, it's like, oh my God, huge jobs report. Oh my God, look at the strong and resilience and resilient strength, the resilient strength of the strength, right? And yet at Bloomberg, because these are people who consider themselves stock marketing people and don't include retail investors who benefit from good jobs data and the stock market. It's a unique member of the American public, especially, that I think we have to recognize, is that there is a large and growing group of people in the United States who previously, there was only a chunk of them that through their pension, they cared about what happened in the stock market, because what's going to happen to your money? Where's the money? Where will my money go if the stock market crashes? My pension plan, my retirement, my IRA, all that stuff got worrisome. But it was an older group. It was a boomer group. Now with retail investors, it's an increasingly large group of people, and again, who have a tremendous impact on the market itself. And wouldn't you know it, these folks don't know that they're supposed to be miserable. So this is my favorite. This is the title of it. So Fed rate cut exuberance ebbs after U.S. jobs data. What does that mean? Okay, the people who were excited that the Fed was going to cut rates and lower interest rates, they were very excited about that. And they were expecting it because of because of lowering jobs numbers last month. It was like, okay, finally we've crested over this thing, and some people are getting fired. Hoorah! That's their reaction, and their exuberance is ebbing. I don't know if you know this, but it is indeed ebbing. It's a whole lot of ebbing going on. Summers urges Fed to wait for overwhelming data before cutting rates, which is they're like, please wait until there's an absolute crash before you do this. Otherwise, these assholes in the general public might get a toehold and compete with me financially. We can't let that happen. So here are the key takeaways. Shall we see what the Bloom and the Berg thinks of this? Here's the key. Go away. I already have this. I don't need to register, you maniacs. Hold on one second. I don't have to. Do I have to log back in, you weirdos? I'm already in there. It's bad enough I had to get a subscription to this ridiculousness to start with, you jerkweed. Would you take this under advisement, jerkweed? Okay. All right. Go away. All right, there we go. Now I've got it. I don't know what, like, anybody else have this weird thing where when you update your software on your computer or whatever, it just sort of forgets some of its, I guess it's, what would it be? It's friendships with other websites. Anyway, so here we go. Here are the key takeaways. Why is my little square? I need to be a squircle right now. Hold on one second. Fix this. Make me a squircle. I don't want to be a square circle. So it's just tall. Yeah, let's just go with tall. That's better. That'll get me out of the way. Put myself over here. Look at that. That's much better. Now you can see everything. Here are the key takeaways. What are the key takeaways, kids? The data came in better than expected. Oh, that's terrible. That's just, I can almost hear the thunder and the lightning. It's a little bit frightening. With signs of a strong labor market across the board. Payrolls rose 199,000 in the month, more than the 185,000 average estimate of economists. The unemployment rate tightened to 3.7%. Tightened. They're calling it tighten. Lowering is tightening, but sure. Below all forecasts and a 4-month low. I swear I could cut glass with my nipples right now. And the participation rate ticked up to 62.8%. America, don't you know we're in hell? Don't you know that the country is failing and being destroyed and we're in the tubes of hell on our way to the tubes of hell? We're on the brink of the tubes of hell right now. Pay attention. Stop working so hard. Stop being committed to a better life for you and your family. What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? America, what's wrong with you? But how is this? Yes, but how is this bad for Joe Biden? It's terrible for Joe Biden. Don't you understand? Don't you understand, Oliver? This is horrifying. This is the worst possible outcome because youth voters are lazy and don't want to work. And so now they have to have a job because they're keeping up with the Joneses who also have a job. I have no idea. It's just stupid. All right, so weekly hours also rose, a sign of demand. Ouch. Oh, that just sucks. It hurts. Oh, it sucks. People not only and by the way, this is for the record. I'm only half joking, but this is why Bloomberg and that crowd are flipping out, because demand means the public has more funds to spend. And that in and of itself is like, God damn it, this is going to drive prices up. Eventually, I'm not going to be able to. My yacht's going to be on back order. Yeah. So, and again, can I just say, see if I can. I don't even think I can bring it up on here. And if they'll be in there. Well, back to here. Because I just took these pictures, so they might not have shown up in my, yeah, they have. Here you go. Let's try to open this sucker up. Let me just show you this real quick. This is this morning. I gotta do this. This is this morning at Disneyland at 7 a.m. So my girlfriend's son, it's his birthday this weekend. And so she got him a trip to Disneyland for him and his girlfriend, and we're with them, and it's lovely. And yes, I left Disneyland to come hang out with you guys. But because we stayed in the hotel, you get to go into the park a half hour early. So you get to run around and jump in line on, jump in early on the lines. Okay, we're not the only person who had that idea. Look at this. This is just random, but like you can see past the small group we're in with the strollers. These are the slow walkers that we were behind. Lovely people. It's frigging packed. Let me show you this. This is the entryway. Here it is. Yeah. This is just the lines to get in the gate at the beginning before you even enter the park itself. Like, this is outside the park. This is 7 o'clock in the morning. The park doesn't open till 8. You get in a half hour early. If you're staying in the hotel, you get in a half hour early so you can, again, run in and hit a bunch of rides. So, and in answer to your question, the reason I was late was because of the monorail, not because we did Star Tours, Buzz Lightyear, and Space Mountain in about 8 minutes. I'm kind of kidding, but it was that quick. You literally, what you do is if you ever want to go to Disneyland or Disney World, go stay in their hotel. It's more expensive, but you'll get more out of your trip that way. Just buzz off run as fast as you can, and then you just hit all the ones that everybody will wait in line for later, and then you can cool it. And I actually, for the first time, saw a new, for a while anyway, there's a new Star Tours adventure in it. So they rotates all the time. So if you ever done Star Tours, if you've never done it, it's you're in a Star Tours bus basically, and it's a sit still ride, but it looks like you're moving, and you're looking at a 3D screen, and C-3PO is the pilot, and it's really cool. And you see R2 or Yoda or at one point, but it looks like you're actually flying and stuff because it's this 3D effect because you're wearing glasses. And they go through 3 different environments. So they go light speed to different environments, and it's always in the middle of trouble. So you dump into this, TIE fighter battle or something like that. Anyways, there's new ones all the time, and they rotate them. And I haven't seen a new one in a while because I'm nuts about the ride. I've ridden it so many times, and we ride it over and over again, much to my girlfriend's chagrin when we here because whatever, because I'm a Star Wars nerd. And anyways, they added a new one, a Boba Fett one that I had not been on. Yeah, the Fast Pass is a great idea, Mark. Absolutely. If only because you will get more out of your trip because you're you're speeding up the line on some of the bigger stuff. Anyways, there you go. So, and she does that for, because it's a birthday and stuff. So, yeah. Yeah. I was correct. Inflation, and what inflation? Biden. This is Biden destroying the economy. That looks like he destroyed it all right. Yeah, yeah. It looks totally destroyed. Also, can I just say for the record, if you want to see how the economy is really doing on a personal, local level, and if you want to push back on the sort of maggot extremists who keep pushing this nonsense. Look at football games. Holy hell. Even bad football teams that that never make it to the playoffs, that are just, fair to middling teams. The games are frigging sold out. Yeah, right, Mark. Vegas is nuts right now. It's like people are everywhere. And again, part of it is that the economy is people wanting to have experiences. So they're going out to do stuff because post-COVID and what have you. But there are also the demand is for stuff. Okay, let's get back into this part. Average hourly earnings rose 0.4% from the prior month, matching the highest estimate from analysts. This is great for workers. I love this. This is great for workers, but a troubling sign for the Federal Reserve as they seek to cool inflation and spending. Okay, first of all, cooling inflation is one thing. You can do that on the supply end, which I guess technically it's more of a governmental thing or an industrial thing. As supply chains shorten, that will lower the cost of transport and a lot of the items. That will bring that price down. Right now, the shuffling of supply chains is the primary driver of inflation in the United States, not the availability of funds. And the weird thing is this whole spending thing is their Volckerite regular attitude towards what causes inflation. People have too much money, they're spending it, and people are rising, because people have more money to spend, they're raising prices on things to scoop up more of that money, and that drives the price up and makes things out of range for other people. That's the fear about long-range inflation. The problem is that ain't this. The inflation we're experiencing right now is caused by post-COVID supply shock. Everybody knows it. I've shown you a dozen Bloomberg articles where they're like, this Sparks kid gave us a lot of shit early on, but he's got something. He's got something there. He's not wrong. And Vincent says, not a sports fan. You don't have to be a sports fan to even just notice that. The crowds are enormous. But, so supply shock is the reason. If we want to lower inflation, part of it is just waiting for the supply chains to shorten. And the other part of it is variety. The only thing previously, and I don't know why no one points this out, but previously, think of when there used to only be 3 television channels, right? Instead of cable. Now there's cable and streaming and cable plus streaming, and there's internet and cable and streaming, or maybe you don't even need broadcast, or maybe you do broadcast and whatever freebie or any free streaming things that you have, part of your internet package. Who cares? There used to be a thing where, oh my God, you've got $5, and there's only 4 places to put your $5. And so everybody in those 4 places is jockeying for the extra buck. They're trying to raise the price of whatever they sell for $1 by however much you will give them of your remaining $1. Does that make sense? You get where I'm going with this? Okay. I'm oversimplifying, but this is like from Wild West to the Industrial Revolution, post-Industrial Revolution, 60s, 70s, when you had to drive to the goddamn store, when there was no Amazon, there was no Alibaba, there was no Temu, there was no worldwide shipping, there was no Bretton Woods, any of that stuff. Okay, so inflation was driven by that very thing. Everybody was trying to maximize how much money they could get from you for the thing they're selling without busting you out and going, I can't even afford that, and just blowing it off, right? And medicine and foodstuffs always had you cornered. Then gas came along, and gas, food, and medicine are now the ones where they feel like they can corner the market. And that's why you have to fight monopolies in food and in oil and in medicine. Now, medicine and food are fairly easy to do, and we do a fairly good job of it in the United States. As expensive as people think food is, try not having any, comparatively. And your variety is off the charts. So the idea that you only have one possible option, if somebody drives up the price of all their crackers because they think they can squeeze you, you'll move on to another cracker. That's the situation that we're in right now. And they're not factoring it in to any of their projection. They're not looking at how people purchase things anymore. Yes, exactly. Can you say Inflation Reduction Act? Thanks, Joe Biden. Totally. Yes, you 5 eggs. Do you get my point? Like, there used to be a country store, and that country store had access to cloth and grain and, animal feed, whatever, but that was it. And if they want, and they would basically go, whatever I can charge you over what it costs me, that's what I live off of. So the most I can have so that I could maybe expand this business, bring in more stuff, or make life better for my family, which sucks in the Wild West, I'll crank that up, right? They'll raise the profit so they can expand the comfort of their life because they're doing all this stuff. And if their store collapses, so does the town. So that's a lot of pressure. So blah, 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 right? Yeah. Well, company stores are different. Company store was a way to get people to that's the monopoly thing you want to avoid. That's the difference. And we don't have anything even remotely close to that right now. But people will act like we do, which is just a dick move. The country store had Sears and Roebuck. That's right. So now, when Americans have more money to spend, it doesn't necessarily equate to rising prices, except in two particular places. One is fuel, because people can control the supply. They can lower the supply. That's what OPEC is doing. That's what Russia is doing. That's what Saudi Arabia is doing. That they're lowering the amount of oil in the system specifically to drive the price up, because you can't live without it. Your society runs on it. And so they've got you over a barrel. Same thing is true of medicine, although the variety of medicines and the competition between pharmacies and pharmaceutical companies and different, even like Walgreens to CVS to Rite Aid to Walmart and Target having their own pharmacies, or at least stuff to buy like over the counter OTC drugs. The availability of that stuff is enormous. You have 6 different versions of ibuprofen you can get, including generic. That wasn't possible. And so, maybe 30 years ago, that was borderline impossible. So if people had more money, you could raise the price of ibuprofen until you basically broke people because they couldn't live without it because they needed a pain reliever. And now you've got, yeah, thanks for spotting that, Yak. I appreciate it. I don't know that anybody else got it. So the Nutra66 says hi. Wow, nice. So the point I'm trying to make is that Bloomberg and this crowd is very confused why, when more money is flooded into the American people, it's not causing direct, price rising consumer goods across the board. The average shit you're buying at Walmart and Target and stuff is at the exact same price, or even in some cases lower. And the only reason they raise it is so that the drop around Black Friday looks even more stark, or to shore up available stuff until they have the big sale, so they can have giant piles of stuff before. It's just they're not factoring for X. I don't know why. They're acting like we live in the Old West and there's one source of grain and the American people only have one place to buy, and that's that. It's odd. It seems incredibly blind, but whatever. Maybe it's market manipulation on their part. I think they're honestly confused. I really do. I think a good portion of these folks are they're like George H.W. Bush when he saw the scanner at the grocery store for the first time. Like they don't know what we do with our money. They don't know what we did with our money beforehand. They look at stuff as numbers, like people think people are doing a bunch of this. They're streaming a lot of things. No one's going to live things anymore because of streaming. Well, if you don't notice COVID, you'd think people had given up on going to live events. And then your fucking mind is blown when people are paying $250 a ticket to go see Taylor Swift, and they're bringing 6 kids with them. It's so, yeah. You're still trying to apply 20th century economics to the 21st century. That is exactly right, Mark. You hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. There's just a material aspect of it that I don't know why they can't grasp it. Anyways, job gains were led by healthcare, government, and manufacturing. Payrolls got a 30,000 boost from auto workers returning from the picket lines. Government hiring was led by state and local bodies. And by the way, I don't know why they weren't factoring that in their estimates, but whatever. As we've seen over the past year, healthcare gains were driven by demand in home care. Payrolls, yes, because older people need someone, a nurse or somebody at home, and they're hiring because people can afford to hire them now because people are having their wages go up, or insurance, or they have insurance, and it is increasingly covering home care. Fucking hell. It's like, do these people even walk around? Honest to God. It's like they're all fucking millennials. right? Honest to God, it's like they're always on their phone. It's like they live through the window of their phone and they have no idea what life is like. And I understand, like, New Yorkers, um, have a certain kind of bubble around the city, and they're always hustling, so they think it's always bad because it is there. It's always expensive to live there, and if you're not hustling, you're fucked. And New Yorkers in particular, I've always said New Yorkers aren't rude. They just can't afford to waste any time on niceties because they've got to pay $3,000 a month to live on a postage stamp in a closet. Right? They live in such a, like, to pay for that small slice of New York requires you to just hustle so much you can't even register relaxed life. It's weird. So, unless you're, I guess, a trust fund, like, hippie, Burning Man wannabe art district kid. There seems to be a bunch of those too, but they don't worry about anything. So that's the tug and pull, I guess. Don't get in the New Yorkers' way, but they know how to queue up. That's true, because nobody's going to miss a point in line. Yeah, dude, some Wall Street shots. Let's see. So this report, especially if this kind of strength is repeated in December, if I keep seeing this, complicates the Fed's outlook. It's already complicated, dummy. You're not factoring for X. You're not factoring for the biggest part of the equation over the last 5 goddamn years. What this report makes clear is that the labor market is strong. Consumers are in a great place to keep spending, and there are few signs of recession, at least judging by job data. Imagine thinking this is bad news. Imagine thinking this is bad news. Now, why would you think this is bad news if you're somebody like Donald Trump? Why? Why are we going to hell as a country if you're Donald Trump? I'll tell you why. Because remember when he said something very distinct a while back, and nobody really factored that into what kind of a president he'd be, which is odd. Why wouldn't you? Remember he was saying he's the king of debt? Do you guys remember that? Around 2015, 2016, everybody's talking about how in debt he was, and he tried to put a spin on it, as he always does, king of debt. Okay. That's why he's freaking out. That's why the Donald Trumps of the world are going, what the fuck? Because, especially in real estate, people who are big investors in real estate are shitting the bed right now, specifically because of this, okay? Now, homeowners, is it more expensive to buy a home than when there was 3%? Sure. But if you're buying your home and it's a 35-year investment and you know it will cost you that much over the time, but it's worth the cost of a house versus renting and just throwing the money down, you'll do it. 10% interest rate on a house might make a lot of people balk, but 5 to 6, maybe 7% on a house even isn't going to do it. It never has, because some people have been paying that all along, especially on your first and only house. Texas Paul, what's happening? And by the way, Andrea, I didn't know if we had planned guests this morning. I'm sorry if I blitzed on that, but I had a lot on my plate, so I want to make sure that I'm not totally missing that. So hopefully I'm not leaving anybody hanging. So you as well, some Wall Street shots. So Texas Paul. So the when it comes to your own house, in a 35-year loan, people used to buy houses, at 12, 15, 19%. And even though the house was cheaper then, when you add the percentage on top of it, it meant that the cost of a house for you, for the person living in it, whether it was the cost of the house itself or the interest rate itself, it was a wash. The only difference was who gets the profit, the bank or the seller, right? As the house prices went up, seller became the strong point in it. But the bank lost because they couldn't drive the price up that much. So banks lost money, but people were, more interest. There was more houses being built because there was more money in building houses. As the interest rate goes up, the cost of the house has to go down, so fewer houses are built. It creates a mild fluctuation in supply and demand, but not until you're in the 10% range, honestly. But if you're Donald Trump and you are leveraged out the ass and all your debt fluctuates with the market. And when you were in office, you did everything. Remember when he was pushing for negative interest rates and negative interest rates and negative? He was trying to get it lower and lower and lower so that he could refinance. Well, he missed the fucking window. I'll see if I can find it for you. But this was just. I need to bring the chat back in real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Trump losing. If I can find the I'm trying to find the yeah, here's a couple. Okay, there's one more on this. Let's see. Trump. Because his partners in the Chicago Tower refinanced. Tower, Chicago. I have to find that article. It's been a while. I gotta find. It was originally. Yeah, there's a bunch of new stuff because he had a bunch of money. He had $270 million in debt forgiven after failing to repay lenders on the Chicago one. Right. So here, let me show you this. And he didn't even benefit from it, which is hilarious. Trump had $270 million in debt forgiven after failing to repay lenders for his 92-floor Chicago skyscraper, according to a New York Times report. He had $280 million in debt forgiven since 2010. Most of it was linked to money he owed lenders for the construction of a massive skyscraper in Chicago, according to tax refund. And by the way, part of the reason it was forgiven was because other people bought in. But when Trump failed to repay the money bank, the lenders initially gave him more time before eventually forgiving the debt. Trump tweeted Wednesday morning that he was able to make an appropriately great deal with the numerous lenders on a large and very beautiful tower. Doesn't that make me a smart guy rather than a bad guy? No. They literally had a choice. They could have the entire corridor, which they have, and have this building basically empty, this giant skyscraper empty, and drive down the price of all the other buildings they have a part of, or forgive this debt. That's how deep the problem is. Trump tweeted on Wednesday. There you go. Yeah, this is him. This was in 2020, October 2020. This is when this story came out. Records reviews by the paper also suggest Trump paid minimal federal income tax on the forgiven debts because of large losses in his other businesses. It told that both the company and Trump had paid all their taxes due on the forgiven debts, which is clearly not true. In total, since 2010, Trump has had $287 million of debt forgiven, mostly stemming. So, let me run it by $250 million in debt forgiven, just wiped off the fucking balance sheet. Just, that's it. According to documents viewed by Trump, Trump arranged for two of his companies to borrow more than $700 million for the building project. Trump got the majority of the money, $640 million, from Germany's Deutsche Bank. That's right. The Russian oligarchs' European bank of choice for housing their money and having it lent out on their behalf to people yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, well, I mean, you got to keep remembering this stuff. This is also a guy who, can't even run a charity in New York. So, Trump got the majority of the money, $640 million from Deutsche Bank. When the loans were due in 2008, Trump International Hotel and Tower was still unfinished. Deutsche Bank initially granted Trump a 6-week extension. At this point, Trump's company owed Deutsche Bank around $334 million in principal and interest, and Fortress $130, not including interest and fees. When the bank declined his second request for extension, Trump sued Deutsche Bank for predatory lending practices and sought $3 billion in damages, according to the report. The bank then filed its own lawsuit demanding immediate repayment of the loan. In July 2010, lawyers for Trump, Deutsche Bank, and Fortress reached a private settlement, but didn't disclose the terms. But tax returns, records, and loan documents viewed by the Times showed that the lenders forgave Trump $270 million worth of debt. Half the cost of the building. He got the building for half price. Which, by the way, the building itself, $640 million to build the goddamn thing, ended up paying half price for it. You're going to tell me Mar-a-Lago's worth $1.5 billion? Fuck out of here. Yeah, what's $250 million between friends, exactly. But also, he gets a huge tax break because the retail space in the downstairs of it is empty. What? Okay, Chicago, I love you. LA, same problem. San Francisco, I gotta tell you, New York probably gonna follow suit very soon if they haven't already. But you gotta start charging a vacancy tax. You either gotta rent the place for what you can get for it, or you gotta pay a fine for having this empty space in your building if you're for whatever you're paying over what you can actually get, because that's just stupid. Or convert it into something else. The reason I'm looking at this 2010 thing is because he refinanced, and he thought he was going to get zero interest on his refi, because while he was in office, he was trying to convince the Fed to go negative interest rates on it, right? And hold on, I just got to check in with the staff chat, because I'm missing in the if I'm ghosting somebody in the I'm gonna feel like a dick. But ultimately he was all the other lenders, all the other buyers on the Chicago Trump Tower, they all refinanced when interest rates were really low. And Trump was waiting because he thought he would convince Jerome Powell to go negative. And so Junior and Eric were waiting. They're like, they're going to pounce. When we go to negative interest rates, here it comes. We're going to pay nothing. They're going to pay us to borrow money to build shit or to finance our stuff. We're going to refi our debt on the American people. That's what he thought was going to happen. And it never happened. So he never jumped. Everybody else refied their 6% that they had to 2% because that's smart. He thought he could go lower than 2%, so he never did it. He fucked up. And yeah. Sorry, what was Mark's question? I missed that one in there because I'm scrolling and trying to bring up this. Of course, everything needs to reload. Discord's having a panic attack as well. Wake up. There it is. Excellent. And let's go to here. There we go. Now. All right. Now I can scroll down. Now I can see where the staff folks are. There we go. Mike Goods. Oh, they're good. Thanks for the happy birthday to Ethan. Okay, good. We're good. We don't have any guests that I'm missing, at least. Okay, good. So the crucial part is that people in real estate are flipping out right now because if interest rates go up, they can't borrow money at the level they would need to make a profit on rental properties, which is somewhere around 4.2%. If it goes above 4.2%, you're losing money on retail or on residential property of any sort, rental houses and apartments. You've got to clear 4.2% to make a profit at all. Okay. George Cass been comparing their flyer prices up against Walmart, and those prices are usually only a penny higher, but you have to compare sizes there. They also usually, oh, I see, yeah. So the Costco impact, that dude with the 64 ounce jar of mayonnaise, are like, this is $9. And you're like, okay, first of all, asshole, it's 64 ounces for a jar of mayonnaise. Secondly, That's what it always costs. The last time you bought it, you used a coupon. It's right there in the picture next to where you're standing. It used to be $4.99. Now it's $9.99 because yes, Henry Kissinger is indeed still dead. That is true, and lucky for us, will remain so for the foreseeable future. Although we live in crazy times, if there's a chance some awful motherfucker can come back to life, our luck these days. I'm kidding. Will be Henry Kissinger, the one fucking person. Thanks for saying happy birthday to Ethan. I will pass that along, everybody. Now, let's see if I can. I gotta call this up. I gotta. Hold on. It was on the X machine. The Maria and the Bartiromo. I just love watching her wig out over these jobs numbers because, yeah, here it is. This is the, bring this back and let's see if.
Overall, you got to look at this report as a big positive. We've got more jobs created.
Why is that choppy? That's weird.
Expected. Joe LeBoy, you've been saying this.
I got it. Do I have to turn on echo? I don't need echo cancellation. I've got. I hate this shit when they try to do me a favor by not playing.
For a long time, saying that the economy is a lot stronger than anybody understands.
Does that sound choppy to you or just to me? Is it being a dick to me? Is it staggered to you guys audio-wise? It's aggravating. Does it go app? Yeah. Just checking. Go. It sounds fine. So it only sounded terrible to me.
Your reaction?
It takes a while. Everything Steve said makes complete sense. The numbers are.
Okay, so let's. Okay, I'll go to that. This is then this is if it sounds okay to you guys, then because it's choppy in my ear, but I can live with it. This is there she is, ladies and gentlemen.
Overall, you got to look at this report as a big positive. We've got more jobs created than expected. Joe LeBoy, you've been saying this for a long time, saying that the economy is a lot stronger than anybody understands. Your reaction?
It takes a while.
Yeah, that's the jobs. You've been saying this. It's a lot stronger than people understand. Watch me try to make this a negative. Just the idiocy. Oh, God. Hold on one second. I got to move my chat around so I can see you guys.
Everything Steve said makes complete sense. The numbers are good numbers, no question. The fact that the unemployment rate fell is good. It was because household employment was up over 700,000. But
overall, you got to look at this.
Just it's over because household employment is up over 700,000. This is terrible. You don't understand how terrible this is. Hold on, this is the thing. And there we go. Yep, and then the rest of Bartiromo is just this shit. Yeah, and then the rest of it's just Hunter Biden. This is, and I'm sure we'll find a Kudlow clip later on as well. Yeah, for this afternoon's show. Let's just grab this real quick. Hold on. I want to jump back over to you guys, chat room, and then go to, because man, there's the meltdown in Trump world is I gotta say, it's gorgeous. It's just an ongoing, and the funny thing is, the amount of dunking that is going on online where everybody's pictures of Joe giving a shit and actually doing it. There you go. It's like a horror movie for Republicans right now. I'm again, how many times do we have to learn this lesson with Democrats where people are like, I don't know, maybe we should give the other guy a shot again. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. It's just, yeah, I understand things are good, but, it could be better. No, it couldn't, actually. It was worse. It was a lot fucking worse, stupid. And by the way, this is even with the feds tightening. This is, but the problem is it is normalized. We've got near full employment. And they're like, oh, it's so good. Hey, there's drift glass. Look into that. Robust U.S. job growth in November is latest sign of a durable economy. Look at that. Even the New York Times. Fuck you, New York Times. Durable. Durable? What the fuck is the matter with you? Yeah, they're all just dying inside. Is she weeping? There's no crying in economics. Absolutely beautiful jobs report. Yep. It really is a sweet spot. Like the Fed and the Biden administration really have managed to bring this together. December jobs report is another good one. American economy remains remarkably strong. Yes, giving Americans plenty of time to sit around bitching. Oh, here's mine from this morning. Breaking, the jobs report is another big fuck you to Donald Trump and the congressional maggots who want the country to collapse. Bidenomics still isn't the slur they wanted it to be. Americans just won't stop being resilient, industrious, and hardworking, especially U.S. jobless rate drop led by teenagers and women over 20. That's right, educated women in the workforce at the highest level in history. U.S. payrolls rise 199,000. Jobs rate drops to 3.7. Healthcare hiring, auto workers return, drive gains. Labor participation rate matches post-pandemic high. Fed swaps price in less easing in 2024 after jobs data, which is what they've been saying. Like that's the thing that they're always talking about. Well, I guess they're not going to drop the fucking. There we go. Yeah, seriously. Like, it is amazing how many people can't take yes for a fucking answer. Breaking, it's a beat. Yep. Newsmax is spinning today's job as being propped up by illegal immigration, saying healthcare and education hirings are up because illegal immigrants are turning up at healthcare facilities and there are more kids being put into the schools.
I think there are a lot of things going on in this economy that are not being accurately portrayed. And I'm alluding, Tom and Emma, I'm alluding to, for instance, there are a lot of jobs being taken by people who came across the border, okay? Mm-hmm. You've got a lot of jobs being filled, and this is having an effect. I think all of us would agree. You have to have a certain amount of immigration, legal, to take certain jobs maybe Americans aren't crazy about, but this is...
Yeah, that's it. Wait a minute. That's a new one. That's a new one on me. So, illegal immigrants, or immigrants in general, I guess this guy was saying, come in and take jobs that Americans aren't crazy about. It used to be, now it's obviously an encroachment, because it used to be they take the jobs we don't want. Now they're taking the jobs we're not crazy about. The jobs we're not crazy about. Get the fuck out of here.
Changing the whole landscape. This is just my opinion I'm expressing, Tom, because you asked. Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons that we've seen the employment numbers propped up, the number of jobs in the economy propped up, because...
Yeah, because if we didn't have those people in the system, I suppose we'd be at full employment. Jesus Christ, man. That by that measure, why don't we just count all the immigrants in the country who have not gotten a work visa or have not gotten the ability to work right now, all the people who've come in who are seeking asylum. I got news for you. At the numbers that Trump is saying they exist in the country as far as adult, asylum seekers in the country who can't work, that could be fucking half the unemployed in the country. If they're being counted as unemployed, as potentially employed, and he's saying we're counting those people, so that's what's driving down the employment. If they're part of that, then guess what? They're also a major part of, according, Trump going, I think there's 15 million of these people in the country. Well, if that's true, then they're half the goddamn unemployed in the country. So real American unemployment is like 1.4% then, stupid. Way to paint yourself into a corner. What an asshole. Sorry, I made myself snort on that. That was good.
Have a lot of people coming over. It increases demand for certain services.
Yeah. certain services are going up. Suddenly we're getting more teachers are being hired because I guess ESL teachers.
You've seen more people being hired in healthcare. Some of them because some of these illegal immigrants are turning up at healthcare facilities.
Yeah.
So, okay, more hirings in healthcare, which is everything from home care to pharmaceutical companies to jobs at Rite Aid, nurses, doctors, orderlies, morticians, like the entire, from the rooter to the tutor of human life. And this asshole's like, yeah, they need to hire more doctors because all these sick immigrants are just rolling up. Well, hey, I didn't know this. You might be onto something, fuckwad. Guess what? Illegal immigration is a job creator in the United States. Who knew? By God, it's a fucking industry. It's like we've struck oil. It's like these people coming into the country are driving up hiring. What a brilliant thing. Who knew? Oh, God. So what you're saying is we should just let more immigrants in so that we'll get closer to full employment? Maybe we could solve unemployment entirely? We wouldn't need welfare at all, I guess. Try harder, dude.
You also have hiring in education. That also, there are more kids being put into these schools. And I don't want to...
There are more kids being put into these schools. That's what in these schools. Which schools would these be? These schools? Oh, the illegal immigrant academies.
Reduce it just to that, but I do think
it isn't just that. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad it's probably a major factor, though. It sounds like it's not major. What a bunch of shit. Christ, man. Look, just make up something about, like, medical staff being needed at shelters and teachers being hired to teach English to Spanish-speaking kids or Portuguese-speaking kids that are coming across the board. Just pretend, you asshole, because it's not where they are. You can see where the data is. It's available. Because here's the thing. The industrial class and the investor class, both, they invest their money and spend their money based on real numbers. They're not going to fuck around with what this dickhead says. They're not going to change their investing habits because this asshole thinks there's a big boon in public education now. And they're like, well, I'll get into school books because they'll be selling more English to Spanish school books because this fuckhead says so. No, they know exactly where these jobs are. And they go, oh, no, that's healthcare workers are largely an expansion of hospitals and stuff, so because people are going back to getting and I'll tell you exactly why. You want to know why there's an expansion in healthcare? You want to know exactly why? Okay, because during COVID, basically everybody was on COVID watch, and terminal diseases and life-threatening diseases, and all the knee surgeries and fucking, I'm worried about this spot on my shoulder, maybe I should get it looked at. That all got pushed. All that shit's being handled now. That's all happening now. So everybody, all those places that need to do orthopedic surgery or any of that, they're all going back to work and hiring more people. Because people are moving out of the emergency room and into other fields. People who were in the emergency rooms all during COVID are looking for another job where they can, that it's not so fucking 24 hours of panic a week. So they're, and then they get replaced by newer nurses and newer doctors. Good Lord. Hi, Vina. Wait, Johnny Million's in here. Get out of town and move to Canada. What's happening?
Some of the numbers are not accurately reflecting the dynamics. So I think that's why economists continue to be perplexed. When you see the feeling from so many people that things are negative, yet the numbers reveal things are positive.
Yeah. Well,
Gee, all of our viewers feel like the entire country is burning down, and and yet the numbers are very positive, and it couldn't possibly be us panicking our viewers all the time. So much so that if we even stop for a second to go, things look good, these motherfuckers fill our inbox with death threats because suddenly we're sellouts to Joe Biden and the deep state establishment and stuff, which I, of course, clearly am, and proudly so, of course. But that's why, like, if you even say things are even marginally okay, these motherfuckers will show up on your lawn. That's why, stupid. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Squirmy right-wing propagandists, exactly. It's like a throwback to 1940s Germany. Like, I don't know, I have some friends who they're meeting some Jews and they seem perfectly fine, and they seem very they're like, I met this Jewish fellow the other day, it was lovely, didn't have horns or anything like that, and yes, it's a very friendly fellow, and it's just, I can't tell anyone, of course, this type of thing, whatever. And I keep getting these reports back that they're hanging out and invited over for meals at Jewish houses, and they're not even asked to convert. I don't even understand this entire thing, But what are we going to do? Tell our viewers that the Jews aren't terrible? I mean, come on, they'll kick my ass. I gotta say, like, the jobs report meltdowns are some of the most fun we've had all year. That, and of course, I guess Comer, every time he shows up with another smoking gun, it's just like, turns out to be a water pistol. Like, aha! Oh, shit. Aha! Oh, shit. Smoke, you dumb mother. Smoke, god damn it. Oh, I love you guys too. This is just so... Oh, God. Don't they know the world is supposed to be destroyed? Oh, my God. What is this? Hold on. Oh, I guess this is I guess Ducey is trending this morning because everybody's mad at him for saying something remotely truthful. This goes exactly to my point. This is him. Hold on.
The House Oversight Committee has been at this for years, and they have so far not been able to provide any concrete evidence that Joe Biden personally profited from his son Hunter's overseas business, but they are going to try again with this impeachment inquiry that's set to start next week. Stu.
Peter, thanks very much.
Yep.
The House.
Yep. Yep. They're going to try again. Yep. They've been doing this for fucking years now. Nothing. And they're going to try again. So hope springs eternal. I don't know what to tell you. Here we go around again with this thing. This is great. Taxpayer dollars at work. Here being spent. That's fun. There we go. What is it? Steve Ducey quoted Ronald Reagan as he mildly chided the GOP candidates for trashing each other. Or he might want to remind Trump. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. So anyways, that's why Ducey is trending this morning on our lovely part of this. Oh, it's kind of good. It's just good. Isn't it good? It's good. It's good like the eggnog in Christmas Vacation. It's good. Hey. If anybody's looking for a last-minute Christmas gift for me, we'll get to, let's see. Oh, boy. That's exciting. And also mildly nerve-wracking. So CRISPR, for those of you who don't know, CRISPR-Cas9 is a gene splicing technology that you can actually do in your garage. A kit to do CRISPR-Cas9 costs somewhere in the order of about $900. And I've shown reports on the show, going back a couple of years of like this one dude who took luminescent fish genes and put them in dog fur, trying to make his dog glow in the dark and that kind of stuff. It's nutty. The FDA has approved the first CRISPR-Cas9 related gene editing treatment for sickle cell, which is fantastic. So fingers crossed, that should be great. This is CRISPR Therapeutics is posting this, of course, but it's on the news there. Sickle cell disease and the potential historic days. The FDA is expected to approve the first ever CRISPR treatment in the U.S. It was already approved by the U.K. Mix that, by the way, and that's a fantastic thing for people that are, that have the gene for it. It's amazing. But in all seriousness, there is, and that's hence the shape. That's the malform in your hemoglobin that causes sickle cell. But so that's awesome. Again, pointing out that as scary as CRISPR technology could possibly be in the wrong hands, and it's something to be concerned about. The truth is, the vast majority of people wake up every morning trying to make the world a better place and be nice to the people around them. And so that's fucking awesome. Now, the addition of CRISPR-Cas9 technology and AI is going to accelerate this kind of stuff, so be on the lookout for even more of these kind of things, gene splicing solutions to a lot of these things. Not the fish... put the fish genes in the CRISPR. They're delicious that way. They cook up and the skin gets all crunchy. All right. So anyways, a piece of good news. I'm just saying in the world of AI and stuff, and science. What is sickle cell? You're not familiar with it? Sickle cell anemia is a blood disorder, mostly, if not always, found in African Americans and black people. And it is a particular genetic defect that causes your hemoglobin, which should be round and puffy like the two below, to look like the one above. And they call it sickle cell because it looks like a farm sickle or a banana, I guess, but they call it sickle cell. When that happens, it causes, as you might imagine, round cells float through your bloodstream a lot easier than these things that can catch each other and cause blockages and can kill you. It's a degenerative disease that affects people progressively over time. It's been a big problem forever, and now it may stop being a problem altogether now in this year. So, and probably, I got to say, not a story that a lot of people know about, but might be another reason why Donald Trump is panicking, because this obviously means that more black people will be living healthy lives and longer. So I can understand why, like, you and I would be happy about that, but he might be shitting his pants. You know what I mean? Because I see this as a good thing. Yeah. Yeah. He suffers from chronic stew, but that's entirely possible. Let's see, 23andMe got hacked. Millions of people had their info stolen. Yeah, but it's not going to matter. Honest to God, it's going to have very little impact on anybody. All you're going to do is find out who's related to who. Yeah, there it is. First CRISPR treatment. This is a big day, kids. It's going to be one of those things. This is like the cloning of Dolly the sheep. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It is a great thing. He's always shitting his pants. Trump, yeah. I mean, touche. Yeah. Doesn't allow. Yeah, there you go. Hold on. Sickle cell does not also does not allow the appropriate amount of oxygen cells to be transported by the hemoglobin because of the different geometry. Right, because it's not rounded in the edges of it, it will not preserve the oxygen that it's carrying. Again, it's an anemia. It means that your blood flow is limited and the oxygen carried by your blood is limited as well. It's not a good thing. It's got long-term detrimental effects, and by God, a treatment for it is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So, just thought I'd throw that out there. While everyone's panicking about the jobs report, I also like to remind those very same people that there are going to be a lot of healthy black people in the future. If you lean it, you can smell the flop sweat on them right now. What? I was counting on them. They weren't they supposed to have some sort of special thing that went wrong with them that guaranteed there'd always be fewer of them? God damn it. Nope. Sorry. Suck it up, dum-dum. So, yeah, there you go. All right. Yeah, maybe it's because my mom's a nurse and stuff, but I like it when people live long, healthy lives with as little medical intervention as possible. Not if it costs upwards of $100K per treatment. Again, it's a life-saving treatment, and the price of it will be incredibly low because it's a Crispr treatment. Crispr means it's going to be cheap. That's the point. Gene editing used to be an enormous endeavor. CRISPR is what makes it incredibly inexpensive. Yep. So there we go. There we go. And try to find this other one. Oh, and the whole thing about like Hunter Biden's tax charges instead of going to the deal to being charged in California. I'm okay. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. I'm okay with that. Big Guy is trending right now because I guess they're trying to... Yeah, I don't know. They're trying to tie it to him? Yeah. Unsuccessfully? Hold on one second. And again, this is actually pretty good. Hold on, I'll show you this. I don't know how much trouble I'll get in on, but I want to show you something. Sorry, this just came up in the feed. This is random content, but Big Guy breaks up a road rage fight. So play on this thing. These guys are fighting. It's pretty pitiful. They're rolling around. There's a lot of punching. Blah-bitty-blah. It's kind of stupid. I don't know. Traffic. This guy headbutts the other guy, and they're really fighting. And then this guy comes out of his car. Check this out. This guy comes out of his car. Hey, man, knock that stuff off. Y'all stop it. Get in your cars. This ain't right. This is traffic. Hey, buddy, you have a good day. Come on, man. Simmer down, man. This is about cars and shit. Get back in your car. It's fine. Just have a good day. Come on now. It's Christmas. Get the shit out of here. Like, good on that guy. Hey, way to go, giant dude. Very impressive. This is, yeah, I just... When you're Joe Biden... This is the smartest guy, you know. Well, I mean, if you're going to smoke while taking a nap, being in the tub is one thing. I mean, obviously, he knows how to make sure nothing catches fire. I think that's rock solid. He's smart, It's just quit raging, settle down in there, lurch with the wind. Totally, just some dude coming in there, like, hey man, come on now. You can solve a lot of things in the South, and a lot of people know this. You can solve a lot of problems in the South by just walking up to people who are causing shit going and just say, "Come on now," a bunch of times. Come on now. Come on now. Hey, fellas, come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Is the pic even real of him smoking in the tub? I think so, because it's from his phone. But again, I still hesitate to get upset about a picture of a dude smoking a cigarette in a tub or taking silly pictures where he's in a vest and with his shorts tucked up like he's wearing underwear, and wearing sunglasses is being funny, or by the way, or being asleep and someone putting a crack pipe up against his lips and taking a picture, whatever. Yeah, yes, that picture was stolen from his phone. Also, can I just say that let's just be completely frank. Most of the hatred of Hunter Biden that these guys have is jealousy. Seriously, if this was a picture of Trump, they would be applauding him as an alpha male. Honest to God. The other thing is Hunter Biden, let's say he's up at 17 years possible for the charges he's up for. Most people don't do more than 2 in those. Let's say he goes in, does 18 months. His dad won't do anything to stop it. He'll go, that's how it works. That's what you got to do. You either pay restitution or you go to jail, and that's it. And then everybody looks at Trump and goes, that's interesting, because you dodged about, 50 times that amount in taxes. Yeah, Hunter was living the MAGA dream. Absolutely. Man, that's a life, dude. Seriously, I feel like if the pictures of Hunter Biden were any more salacious, he'd have to be a mega church preacher. I still love the fact, by the way, let's see if this blows up. Just for the record, this is the thing they hang on all the time. And they do this all the time. This is the 10 held for the big guy. This is the Bobulinski email. Not written by Hunter, or, I think maybe it was between Devin Archer and Bobulinski, but somebody else wrote that, and maybe they call his dad the big guy. But one of the reasons why you only see this version of that image, why you hear about it all the time, but you don't, and you don't see the whole email all the time. Anybody have an inkling of an idea? You know why? Just seeing if somebody who's going to be the first one. There's no metadata trail. That's one of them, Mark. That is definitely a part of it, because it's not true. That's another part of it. But also, it's the date. The date of this email is in 2018. That's why. That's why they always cut it down. Even their fake shit tied to what they were trying to make this deal look like, so they, even that. They literally, in Biden being in office for 54 fucking years, and they managed to find the 2 years in his life where he wasn't running for office and he wasn't serving, that they're like, private business was done. They just never show the date on this email. They do. That's why it's always so close. Yeah, exactly. Who was president in 2018? Does anybody remember? Oh, I know who it was. It was the guy that had Deutsche Bank forgive $250 million in loans all of a sudden, when Deutsche Bank's primary client list were Russian oligarchs, where the largest amount of loan-based seed money that Deutsche Bank lent out came specifically from an infusion of cash from Vladimir Putin and his buddies. Weird. Right about that time. Isn't that odd? Biden's a lazy criminal. Well, I mean, he's got to work harder then because he's not even committing any crimes. There's a certain point where if you're too lazy a criminal, then, you're just not going to actually commit any crimes. I think you're going to lose your moniker as a criminal entirely. You want to talk about an industrious criminal, Donald Trump's your man. Are you sure it was Trump? Because he said he didn't take the oath of office. Yeah, well, no, he says he didn't take an oath to the Constitution. That's what it was. Because he doesn't understand that you take an oath, that taking an oath to the Constitution is taking an oath to protect the Constitution. It's the same thing. It's just, he's trying to, I mean, what would you do if you were him and you were stupid? You just do everything you could to just wiggle out of everything. What are you going to do? Biden's a budding criminal. Yes, one day he'll get it together. It's like he's the most incompetent and corrupt president ever. He's so incompetent at being corrupt that he's actually on the up and up. Yep, the fleet of Corvettes, or the one Corvette, of which he is the original owner, and he paid like $6,000 for in the 60s. Yeah. According to that lame-ass judge, Trump was not an officer of the U.S. government. Well, that's the thing. They're trying to make the case that he's above the government, that the executive executes the role of the government, so he's above the government, which is stupid. Which is like saying the CEO is not an employee of the company. It's just dumb. How didn't Hunter pay the taxes he owed? Yes, but he's being charged with not paying them in a timely fashion. That's why it won't be 17 years. It'll be, community service and a deal and whatever, and he'll pay a fine and other stuff. Because he ultimately did pay it. Yeah. Some say to yeah, it's the office of the president, right? If you have an office, you work for you're working, and if you're getting paid, here's the idea: who signed your paycheck while you were in office? Who pays your salary? The citizens of the United States of America. Gas is dropped to $2.87 a gallon here in North Carolina. It's going to keep going down too. So technically, Biden is even smarter than maggots think. Yeah, he is. They think he's completely stupid, so he'd have to be. Although I think the weird thing is that, yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying, because on the one hand, they're so back and forth, whether they think he's completely conniving and a masterful Machiavellian creature of politics who knows the ins and outs and can manipulate the system. But that when it comes to Trump and taxes and real estate, that makes him smart, but it makes Biden a villain, I guess, is the idea. It's so weird. Let's see. Yeah, he's the world's dumbest mob boss who also controls the world's biggest corrupt, criminal enterprise in the world, but can't finish a sentence. Because I guess you and we always assumed, and one of the reasons I never started a giant criminal enterprise is because I thought it took a lot of work and it was very complicated, but apparently not. I think the reason why Trump thinks you can be doddering and the head of a criminal enterprise is because he is. Trump's like, of course he's a criminal and can be stupid at the same time. I am. I think we stumbled on something. That might explain it. I've always wondered how how they could think that Biden could be completely stupid and, have dementia and be lost and not able to finish a sentence and be a criminal mastermind, because Trump thinks he's both himself. Trump is not alone here. No, I mean, there's a lot of people who think that filet of fishes from McDonald's are fine dining and put ketchup on steak. and have 3 wives. I mean, he's not alone. Obviously, there's him. There's Newt Gingrich. I don't know. Engelbert Humperdinck. Who else? I'm kidding. Humperdinck's completely fine, I suppose. I'm just in awe of how much such a big dummy can cause so much grief in the world. You mean insofar as Trump? Well, again, Trump, most of the grief that he creates in the world, we give freely. And again, you are responsible and you are in control of your emotions. Again, I don't care who you are, especially if you're an adult. You make a decision about what something means before you feel anything about it. You may have done it a long time ago. The decision you made may have been habitual and may have happened when you were younger, but you made that decision, and now when this happens, I feel bad, and when this happens, I feel good. Anytime your emotions are circumstance dependent, it's because of a decision you have made. So you think first and you emote later. Your emotions become a reaction later because you are in agreement with yourself. You have set up this equation, this plus this equals bad feeling. If you decide not to, or you have a secondary circumstantial element that makes you feel differently, again, if a total stranger yells, "Hey, fuck you," across the street, "I'm going to kick your ass," you might feel one way, and if a friend does it, you feel another, and you laugh because it's not the words and even the volume or the kind of the content of the thought, it's who's conveying it. You've made the decision. If a stranger says it, that's bad. If a friend says it, that's hilarious, right? So Trump only upsets you because you've decided to let him upset you. And that's his goal. That's the only thing he's got, because upsetting people is how he knows he's being taken seriously. If you're not upset by him, he's not winning. You have to be. That's why he's a natural child of the outrage machine. So if you don't get outraged and you laugh at him, he can't win. You know, it's very much like Glinda the Good Witch in The Wizard of Oz. You have no power here. Now go away before someone drops a house on you. Right? He's a standing joke. That's exactly right. How's on-screen chat is very difficult to read. Bold started. I'm sorry, it's the version they gave me on this one. I don't know why. I'll try and improve it later. I'll see what I can do. Oh my goodness! And Cheryl, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. That's lovely. By the way, support the show. Like, subscribe. We're so close. 59.9K. We're almost at 60K. 60,000. It's almost as if me putting in the time to do the show on the regular, even when it means leaving Disneyland to come hang out with you, is worth it. The majority of us haven't taken silly pictures at one. The majority of us haven't taken silly pictures at one time in our lives. Yeah, well, I agree. I mean, I think that's the essence of the Hunter Biden thing that they don't get, is that nobody's freaking out about that. Most teenagers, especially in young voters, are like, fuck, dude, I have way worse pictures. If they made their way out, I'd be doomed, right? It's his evil right-wing nutjob henchmen who use him to put their disgusting policy in place that are the dangerous ones. I would agree, Willie Poof. Wiffle Poof, sorry, Wiffle Poof. I agree. That's another reason not to take him seriously, because they need you to take him seriously. Let's see if I can shrink this down so that, maybe that works there. Yeah. I'm gonna try to stretch this out because some people's comments are bigger. That if you don't take it seriously, they can't use him to do it. Does that make sense? The only reason he serves a function for the Stephen Millers of the world is because people take him seriously. And again, seriously enough that you either choose to make fun of him, which I think is wise, or recognize that that's how they use him. But like when the news doesn't take him seriously, and they just kind of don't mention, they act like they only show the normal shit he says and just blow off the weird shit he says, and then they create an artificial normalcy around him. That's a problem. But for the average person, the goal should be mockery, nonstop, unadulterated mockery of this fool all the time, all day, every day, period, end of story. And I hope I'm still on. It was being choppy there for a second. Come on, Jesse Ventura has a look. Hey, no, I want you guys to understand that at one point when I was governor of Minnesota, I went to a special place. There was like, you go out into a field in the middle of it. You can see it. There's one freeze frame in the movie Fargo where you can see it in the background because the CIA financed that entire film with Frances McDormand, whose father was one of the Pentaveret. And I followed her out there one night with a flashlight. She had the flashlight, not me. I was following in the dark because I have special SEAL vision. And I followed her out to the middle of the field, and she opened up a manhole cover and climbed down the goddamn thing. And wouldn't you know it, I go down in there, pitch dark, can't see anything. I'm wandering around in these hallways forever and end up in the luggage compartment of a Pan Am flight that had disappeared in 1964 over the Bermuda Triangle. And as I doze off in the luggage hold, we land at the Denver airport, where at least I know where the trap door is that will take me into a special portal that was built around the Mandela effect that allows me to exit as long as I'm holding on to one sock out of any dryer in the country. True story. I don't know if you know that, but if you climb into a dryer holding one sock, it's a teleportation machine. You will end up in another dryer. One single socks travel between dryers, and all you got to do is you got to hold on really tight, though. That's too much. Anyways, all right, I gotta start wrapping this up. I got 8 minutes left in the show, and I want to remind you guys that there's a big storm that's going to hit most of the U.S. this weekend, and everybody's worried about it. So you guys be careful out there. This guy's got his umbrella in New York. Yep, that's it, and a bottle of water. He's ready. He's got a mask. This isn't an old picture. A severe storm will slam the eastern U.S. with rain, thunder, wind, snow, possibly a tornado. Very exciting. Rough weather will span 1,200 miles from the Gulf Coast to Canada, bringing with it the threat of power outages and tree damage. So if you're a tree, be very, very careful. The other thing, too, is one of the weirder stories. A woman tried to burn down Martin Luther King Jr.'s birth home a day and a half ago. Now, this is a little story. This is what I don't know if this is the soft racism of silliness or what have you. But when you see the headline, you're like, dear God, can someone stop the Karens? That obviously some white supremacist has gotten a hold of a bunch, is going to burn down MLK Jr.'s birth home. What a terrible, terrible thing! It was a black lady. Let's see. I don't know if they have the. Did they take off? I guess they did. Where's the? No, yeah. It was a black lady. She was whatever. She had a big gas can. She was pouring it all over the porch and on the plants. People walked up. Some tourists were coming by. They saw it. Yep, the tourists came up and she came back with a lighter and tried to light it. Now, here's the thing. The story in this, it's interesting because we all know we're at a white lady. It would be all over the place. White woman tries to burn down MLK Jr.'s home. Period. End of story. Even like if it was anything but a white woman, basically, it would have been like seriously. Oh, that's interesting. Wait a second. Something just came up in the thing, Nerd Halen news. Charles, South Carolina. Oh, that's nice. So next year, we've got a gig next year in Charleston, South Carolina for Nerd Haaland playing Toys for Tots. I love it. Excellent. It's a long way away, but I don't give a damn. I'll play Toys for Tots anywhere, anytime. Come on now. Love it. That just came up. Oh, there you go. All right. So, yeah, but like I said, if it was a white lady, this would be all of it. It was a black lady, so they don't even say the race at all. And here's the thing. They do this all the time because they think that and the right wing does pounce on stuff, but they think that the vast majority of people are going, aha, I see, black people even hate him or some nonsense. Like, okay, here's what you can tell from this story, and this is what, honest to God, when this story first came up, and it didn't list the race of the woman, I was like, okay, she's black, so that's why they're not saying. She's also probably mentally ill. That's what I would say. Like, this is, because I got to be honest with you. If somebody had all their mental faculties and they did something like this, regardless of their race, ethnicity, country of origin, they would have been successful. They would have just done it. It would have been a very fast thing, right? It doesn't matter. It would, you know what I'm talking about? Like, if they were sane, they would have pulled it off. But she was walking around just pouring this over there, and then she kind of was wandering, and then she walked back, and she had a lighter, and this guy didn't even have to touch her to stop her, and whatever. And then here's the thing. This is the part of the story that broke my heart. This is the sweetest part of this whole story. She's and by the way, 2 people from Utah, I'm gonna guess. And I notice how the visitors from Utah's pretty goddamn white. Just gonna say, I'm not assuming they're white, but you could kinda. They stopped her from burning it down. They stopped, okay, and they were very, they just basically blocked her from doing it. Here's the real story, and this is, Zach Kempf is the guy's name. I'm gonna go with white. So I can only imagine the Daily Wires be like, 2 white people from Utah, 2 white Mormons saved Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthplace from a crazed black woman. BLM destroys again. Okay. She allegedly emptied a 5-gallon container on the porch and retrieved a lighter she'd left in the grass next to the porch. He said he blocked the woman with his body as she attempted to get back to the porch while holding the lighter. He told the Times the woman had a nervous energy but wasn't aggressive and eventually backed down, turning around and walking off down the street. He yelled at 2 guys down the street, saying she was trying to set the house on fire. They followed her. They detained her. They were 2 off-duty New York Police Department cops. And I would like to remind you, these are 2 New York police officers. A black lady tried to burn down Martin Luther King Jr.'s house, and these 2 off-duty New York cops detained her without harm. Just reminder, just put that in your head. They were able to hold on to her. And then here's the story. This is the part of the story that I found like heartbreaking and important. He added that later, after local officers arrived at the scene, the suspect's father and 3 sisters showed up after tracking her location from her phone. Her family described the woman as a veteran who was in mental distress. She was arrested for attempted arson as well as interference with government property because it's a protected site. And in a statement, the King Center said an individual attempted to set fire to the historic property. It was unsuccessful thanks to the brave intervention of Good Samaritans and then the quick response of law enforcement. If the witnesses hadn't been there and interrupted what she was doing, it would have been a matter of seconds. The house would have been engulfed in flames. I would have argued also that she would have probably caught fire too because she was putting it all over the place. This is a woman in mental distress. Her family was looking for her. She did this, and the action was stopped without violence by tourists and police officers who detained her without violence. Would like you to sock this story away in your head the next time you knee-jerk assume that everyone around the world is trying to do awful and you can color code them by it. This was a good outcome. That's right, Boston Bryant. Best outcome by far of how this could have gone down. Because I got news for you. The house might have burned down, or the front of it might have caught fire, and they would have, people would have rushed out and probably put the fire out because it was largely the porch and the bushes and kept it from burning down. And it had sprinklers, I have no doubt, because it's a historic site, and it would have been survived. But this poor lady probably would have died. she probably would have burned herself up in the process. And I would like to remind you that a bunch of lovely people intervened in this. So just Christmas, folks, like, just carry that around with you for Christmas. I'm sure that it's really old building, which would have gone up quickly. It is an old building, Boston Brian, but they have preserved it as a historic site. So since it has tourists, you have to put sprinklers in. That's why it's a piece of government property. So it very well, like the front of it absolutely would have been, very damaged. But it probably, would have gotten, okay. Summer just texted me because the show's over, and she's like, all right, we have passes to the Star Wars ride at 1:00. We've got fast passes to that. So I'm going to sign off and go back to Disneyland. Damn regulations. That's exactly right. God bless Boston Brian, you wonderful human being, because that's exactly it. That's what regulations are for. Regulations save lives. Regulations save property. Regulations save history. Do they need to be updated all the time? Of course they do. But without them, you know what we have? Tofu drag Chinese ghost cities. Go look up the construction there, because they have none of the regulations we do. And do they slow the building of property in the United States more than they should? Absolutely. But could we shave half the time off that? No. We could build houses a third faster, which would be great in this country if we refined the regulations and had an overhaul of them that thought it all out using modern technology and modern methods to deal with this kind of stuff, and modern retrofitting and all that kind of stuff. We could shave a fucking third of it off. But we won't cut it to half, because if you cut it to half, that's when houses collapse on top of people. Anyways, I love you guys, and I love you guys so much. I stayed a minute over, even when my family is waiting for me at Disneyland. Boston Brian, you are awesome. Jump on the show soon. We will make that happen. I think I'm home being normal all next week. Maybe. Sorta. Kinda. Jesus Christ, I have no idea. The end of the year gets insane. Anyways, love you guys. Talk to you later. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And jobs, yeah. Don't, jobs.